talk about the bar scene. So
Cool.
what was the most difficult thing you encountered that day shooting the bar scene?
I guess I would say running against the daylight hours was the hardest because the initial plan was to have this like 600X out here as our key. But like Thomas said, it was raining. So we couldn't necessarily like put that out there along with the grid. The 600 would have probably been fine, honestly, because it's weatherproof. But yeah, we would have had to run power outside to it. And since camera was looking, from this angle at this door for a good chunk of the day and like in several scenes, we couldn't necessarily run a cable out the door. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the windows opened either. Or if they did.
They were locked.
Okay, yeah, they were locked. And even if they did, like, that would have just been sound bleed everywhere. Even with the door open, same thing, because it was a busy street on this side. So, yeah, the plan in the end shifted to basically nixing all of this. And instead, we just brought in these two lights, our kickers, and just placed them, in these corners instead. We made it a tight fit, but it worked. And because it was raining that day, we basically had soft, diffused, cloudy lighting all day, which honestly, it looked nice. So in a weird way, it was a gift and a curse. The lighting was good. It was just limited by what nature was going to give us at that point. So, can't really change much about when sun sets and all that good stuff. So in the end, I think it still looked pretty solid, but that was probably the hardest part, just having to get two chunky scenes done in one day.
So we talked about the bar scene and what was most difficult with the bar scene.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's break down some of the frames.
Sure.
And some BTS picks for the people at home.
Let's start with Carrie. Let's start with Nick. This is when Edward first confronts him in the bar. Part of this setup and something that a lot of, people that work on camera and lighting will probably notice immediately is that we're shooting on broadside, which is just, shooting on the side of the face that's lit versus in shadow. So, this versus this side. This is mostly because at some point in the film, there's an intentional camera move to the shadow side. So we're on the broadside for now, before that tone shift happens. In terms of how we lit this one was actually pretty chill. This is mostly just the key from that window. Actually, I'm going to change the color of my pen because this is one of those darker frames I was mentioning. Let's just go plain white. I guess that's boring, but it's whatever. So we had the window coming in here, acting as his key, exposing this side of the face, and then these like little orange like rims coming down like that side of the face. That's basically that's coming in from Carrie's hair light and a bounce that we had kind of off frame and then shooting into a corner. It's a little hard to, I guess, draw where that is because it's not necessarily like in this exact spot. It's further past where he's looking, even like behind Carrie and to his left. But I can give an illustration of that as well. That bounce is coming from here. So that like gentle, warm light we're getting on his face here, that's pretty much from that bounce.
So just a kiss of light.
Yeah. Can I yes, object erase, thank God. Instead of all this individual pixel nonsense. Okay, so that's his shot. And then Carrie, as you may have glimpsed in this, to get that shot, we had a hair light up here coming down and creating this like warm wrap down there. And then the window is working again as his key. This is after the tone shift. So we're now on the shadow side. That hair light is wrapping nicely on his shoulder, acting as a rim. Also like kind of filling in his ear a little, which some people do and don't like. I've seen that there's like tricks where you can take like, I think, paper tape and just basically Greek the back of their ear so you don't get like these little highlight spots. I thought it looked nice. It's a nice
Do you
little...
like the natural look?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel one way about it or another. I think it gives, I guess, realism. But, you know, tone-wise, it's warmer light coming from this direction, so I don't mind the warm tone on that side of the world anyway. And then you can see the blinds here from the window. That's coming in as his key. And there's... I guess I can't zoom in further. There's a soft eye light. That's just more of the windows further down in the bar that you can see in like this diagram. That's probably like this window here. Oh. Yeah, it's probably like that window there, acting as what would have been Carrie's eye light.
Okay.
Yeah, and
you want to talk about how you used the practicals, or were they used at all?
Yeah, we had these practicals playing, you know, throughout the bar. These just act as like background texture, just so we can see into, excuse me, into the back of the bar when we're looking at Carrie in like some of the wider shots. It also just, you know, gives some life to like this shelf here, so it doesn't just fall into darkness too much. We did unplug this neon fish light though, because I don't remember what color it was. It was probably green or some form, but it was fighting the key light too much and making a weird color cast that I'm sure whoever did color would have hated. So yeah,
That was me. You used the aperture MC for something. I think we have a shot of that.
Yes.
What was that for?
So like I mentioned before, we were fighting daylight. So as you can see between this photo and this one, it is much darker on his face. But with the power of modern technology, we were able to compensate with that. So this is our gaffer, Destin, and our second unit DP, the GOAT. I think we were on probably what, like the 85 at this point? Is that your longest lens? Okay. So yeah, so camera's there. This light was likely then acting as a catch light for Carrie in that case. And since this scene takes place later on in the film, we switched it to a warmer tone just to, I think, insinuate like the shift in day a little bit. Or it could just be that this photo was taken with a different white balance, so it looks warmer.
I think that's what it was. Because it wasn't that warm.
Yeah. So, wish I could zoom in further. But yeah.
How important is it to have little fixtures like MCs or I forgot what the light bulbs are called?
Oh, B7s?
B7s.
In terms of ranking, there's essentials, great to haves, nice to haves, and then, you know, anything past that is just bonus. I would say MCs and B7s are great to haves because you can hide them pretty easy. And as you can see, Destin's just holding it, and it's not a heavy unit. It's battery powered. The battery lasts decently long if you're not, you know, maxing it out all day. So they're good for just scenarios like this where you need to sneak in like a catch light or just to give someone like a touch of fill if the camera's really close to them without having to set up a stand, get sandbags, soften the hell out of it after it's all set up. And, you know, it still does the job pretty well with something small like a MC. A B7, for anyone that doesn't know, is like a light bulb shaped fixture, so it actually screws into the stuff that would be playing as practicals right now. And B7s they're pretty good. They can be any color that you want, and they're decently bright. They're not like the brightest thing, but you know, you're just trying to replicate a light bulb, which isn't normally too bright to begin with. So,
okay, you said Destin was holding the light. Pop quiz.
mm-hmm.
When a crew member is holding a light or a bounce board, what is it called?
Is that a quiz for me?
It's a quiz for you.
Oh, it's Hollywooding.
Hollywooding. I'm going to put that up there for the kids at home.